If I may, just give a little background and a few notes. I know there's people that want to speak to this tonight. We appreciate you being here. We talk about this being payday lenders and title car lenders, and that's the real terminology is what you see, credit access businesses. And I just want to give you a little background before we get ready to discuss and vote this tonight. I was pleased to be on the council back in 2008 when Mesquite was one of the first cities that started to regulate these businesses. Back in 2008, the city passed a zoning ordinance that prohibited these businesses from opening up anywhere other than freestanding buildings. At the time, if we weren't the first, we were one of the first that had enacted that. And our understanding from staff and doing research since 2008, there have been no new businesses of this type open in Mesquite, and that zoning ordinance is a big part of that. And I know that last year this came up, and it was discussed by a pastor here in town and several council members here in town, and the council discussed a variety of ways to work with this. And at that time, back in late 14 and early 15, the council did make a move, but what they did was that they asked the state to get involved. The state had a number of ordinances and laws that were before the state this year, and none of them passed. Our council at that time, which I was not a part of, encouraged our state legislatures through ordinance to do something, and they didn't. And we just felt like that, you know what, it's time for our city to stand up and do something. Just a few facts, and you may hear some of these again a little bit later, but according to the Center for Responsible Lending, payday and title loan companies and borrowers spend more than $7 billion just in annual fees. That's fees above what they're borrowing. The center also reports that associated with this fee can be related to approximately 390+% if it was considered on an interest basis. A lot of these businesses are located strategically throughout lower income areas that people that in essence that they feel like they can prey on, quite honestly, to try to move into this regard. Also, another report that they gave us, this was last year's 2014 numbers, that there were about 20,000 of these type of lenders in the United States, more than there are McDonald's, just to give you some idea of how prevalent these type of businesses are in our country. Today, we're considering an ordinance in Mesquite to join 29 other Texas cities to try to strengthen the regulations of these type companies. One of the things, there's several things that this ordinance is not. One of the things that we do want to communicate is this is not an anti-business ordinance, but this is an ordinance that says if you want to do business in Mesquite, you need to do business fair and ethically to the citizens of Mesquite, Texas. We're not trying to be over-governmental or over-regulating, but it's a way for us to say, do what's right. We're not trying to meddle into people's personal affairs. There are people out there that need help. But in this regard, in this way, we don't feel like that this is the way that they need that help. And hopefully we'll hear from people out there that are going to offer that help to some of these folks. The ordinance that we're looking at and we're talking about here tonight gives us greater protection for Mesquite citizens. I will tell you that in trying to govern for this community, my only, and I think this council's only interest is for the citizens of Mesquite, Texas. What we do day in and day out is trying to better our community and trying to protect our community. We talk about crime and a lot of other things, but this is a big step for us to allow for our citizens in Mesquite, Texas to have another level of protection. We're also trying to be more transparent. You'll probably hear a number of the things that are involved in this ordinance tonight that requires these lenders to be more transparent in what they're doing and how they're charging these fees, and to actually tell the people that are going into these offices what they are paying and how much. We didn't get here as quick as a number of you would like. I know this began about a year ago, but sometimes government's a little slower than what we'd like for it to be, but I'm glad we're here tonight, and I'm glad we're here that we're making this decision. One of the things that I would mention is that through our Mesquite Ministerial Alliance, other local pastors, several people up on the dais here that have been involved, as well as support from the Faith in Texas group, and quite frankly, the courage of this council tonight to stand up and be accounted for and be counted, I think it goes a long way and tells our citizens, we in Mesquite, Texas, we want to fight for you. We want to do what's right for you. Just in closing, before we get to some of the people that have come and some other comments that folks would want to make, one of the things we've talked about, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, but hopefully, once this vote's taken tonight, that this can be one of our gifts to our citizens this year during this holiday season, that we're trying to do the right thing by you. And in the years to come, that we'll continue to do the right thing. Thank you for indulging me for a few minutes. I know there's several other comments.